Hello everyone and welcome back to A Bit Tactical, where today I'm going to be going over the Tempestus Aquilons and some of the changes they received with the balance update. So basically, instead of just redoing my two videos that I have out right now, I'm just going to link in their descriptions to this video so that you can see the changes and how it affects certain things. For example, drop insertion is really affected now because this is an 11 operative team. And so let's just get actually right into it. Enough with the yapping. So the drop insertion ability didn't actually change. The wording stayed the same. It's just that because of that wording and because you are now in an 11 operative team, some things do need to be considered now. For example, in the first turning point, when you're splitting your team up into thirds for your deployment, it's now going to be 4 who stay on the ground, 4 who can go up in the sky or on the ground, and then 3 who can go up in the sky or down on the ground. And you still only have to drop 2 of these people. So 7 people are up in the sky turning point 1, only 2 have to drop, which means going into turning point 2, you're going to have 5 troopers up in the sky as opposed to 4. Why is this? Because half of 11 is 5.5. And because it doesn't mention rounding up or down, this means that the rules as they are written for drop insertion is that more than half of your team has to drop. So turning point 1, you only have to drop 6 people and you still get everything that you get with this rule. So turning point 2, you have 5 people, which is actually really good. It makes you really more powerful. It makes you that crazy amount of attacks that you do in turning point 2 from dropping and being obscured and all that survivability and durability. You now have an extra operative to mess around with this. You can do your 2 metals. Personally, I like bringing the Precursor and the Gunfighter. Now I can bring a 5th operative up there. Right? You can bring another trooper if you want to. You can bring your sentry down and have him start doing stuff from a better position, right? There's so much more versatility now with the drop insertion, and it all happens because you have an 11 operative team. Not to mention now, because you have something like your marksman, you can drop him. You can have him be one of the people that you drop down in the first turning point and move him up to a good position while your opponent is distracted by the 5 operatives that are being dropped in turning point 2. This really does help bring the Aquilons into a more dangerous state, is what I'll say. Okay, like I think this might have been a little bit overkill on buffing the Aquilons, but I mean, you know, I guess we're just gonna roll with it forever, I guess. And then again, with sudden offensive, your strategy ploy with 11 operatives, this also gets kind of a mini buff. In turning point 2, assuming you haven't lost any operatives in the first turning point, which it's a pretty safe assumption, you're going to have 6 now. 6 uses of balance as opposed to 5, which just brings out a little bit more versatility. Again, really nice change. That really should bring you guys, again, I think a little overkill, but we're going to take it. And then hot drop has also been changed. So now, instead of basically losing this ability or this Firefight ploy when turning point 2 leaves you and you don't have any advantage, like for example in Gallowdark. Now though, so long as you are on the enemy side of the board, you can also still use this Firefight ploy, which I think is a fine trade-off. The Aquilons are a very offensive team. It's kind of their whole thing. Being able to get up to the other person's side of the board is actually kind of an essential part, especially if you're taking plant beacons as their attack op. So, giving it that restriction, I still think is really good. Personally, again, I don't know if I like all the caveats with some abilities. However, I can see why they have it on this one, considering we just got a big buff with the 11 operatives. And then the final change, the Precursor now has Ceaseless on his knife. I actually think this is a perfect thing for him. I was really surprised that I didn't actually like how not good the Precursor was. I wanted him to be better than he was. And I thought a weapon rule on his knife would be good, other than just striking twice, right? Which he does have, which is good. It's just, for whatever reason, it's not as effective as I was hoping it would be. Even in other Killteam battle reports that I've seen, the Precursor doesn't do as well as like I would expect him to do. So giving him Ceaseless, I think, does give him that little buff, so you can kind of fish a little bit for a crit, so you can do that 7 wounds, so that you can, potentially kill, at the very least, a Horde model, or finish off a Elite Team model. Either way, this is a really good change. I think the Precursor did need a little bit of a buff, and I'm glad that he got it. So with this whole update out, now there are a few things I want to mention. Number one, this is a true one-box kill team. Literally every single model that comes in that box, you will have to use. Not only that, but you can actually create every possible option that you could ever have, you could create from one box. So if you want to get into Killteam, this is the best team to get into Killteam with. Not joking. You get every single part of this team. And this sounds really dumb, but that's not the case with a lot of kill teams. A lot of kill teams do not have this at all. In fact, I would even go as far as to say that most kill teams are not this, which this really should be the standard. But this is. You can create the whole team, and you can deploy the whole team. It's really cool, actually. I really like this about the Aquilons now. Hopefully, so there's just again, I just don't know if this is too much. I don't know if it is too much. I know the Aquilons were kind of like a little bit down in the win rates. However, I don't know if this is something that should have happened like this. I don't know if it should have been 11 operatives. I feel personally like we maybe should have gotten buffs to the marksman to make it more viable. Buffs to, obviously, the Precursor, he got his stuff. Maybe even the gunfighter. I think a new equipment piece that wasn't the daggers or the stims, or if stims does something else, I think that would have been a more... Those were the kind of buffs that I was thinking they were going towards, not just getting a whole new operative, right? Maybe even changing drop insertion a little bit so you have a little bit more flexibility with it, right? Can You Roll a Crit made a video where he talked about some changes that teams need, and he had this idea where you have 3 markers. You have 3 drop markers for your drop insertion ability. And at the end of turning point 2, you get rid of 2 of them, but at the end of turning point 1, you only get rid of 1. So going into turning point 2, you'll have 2 markers that you can cover the whole board with, right? And then you have drop augury, so you can really cover the whole board. And I actually thought that would be a solid buff. It still plays into the strengths of the Aquilons. It makes them stronger, while the weaknesses of it are still very much present. So it doesn't mess with the weaknesses, which are good. Teams need weaknesses, right, in order for it to be a fun game. But then it also heavily leans into the strengths. Now this, right, adding a whole operative to it, I feel like it kind of diminishes some of the weaknesses. Again, there was a choice you had to make. It was one choice, but it was a choice, the marksman or the sentry. Now that choice is gone. Before, durability and strength. Now, or, accuracy, because the marksman hits on 2s. If he's on vantage, he does devastation 3. There's a lot of good things about him. But now that choice is gone. There's not really a need for a choice. And because it's an extra operative, and I do consider that marksman, because that's who I'm not bringing, to be that extra operative, I'm okay with waiting it out and making sure he's on Vantage and prioritizing him on Vantage. And if he's not, if somebody comes up and kills him, I'm okay trading that because, again, I have that 11th operative. That in my mind, the way I see it, that person just wasted an activation with a model that's not even going to affect the viability of my team at all. I almost find the Marksman to be like an expendable model now. So yeah, those are just my personal thoughts right now on the Aquilons. I'm still really excited. I'm excited to play them. Again, another thing I'm going to want to add, I want to get the message out as much as possible. I'm not continuing the guide as it is right now. I want to get at the very least one game in with the operatives, which won't be able to happen until next Sunday. And because of that, I'm going to, put a hold on it. There's going to be some kasrkin videos coming out next week because I'm very familiar with the kasrkin. All of their changes have been buffs to certain things, and I'm playing them this Sunday, okay? So, yes, I know, I'm sorry, Aquilons players. I really am. But kasrkin are my baby. I'm always going to go right back to them. They're like the ex-wife that abused me, and I'm addicted to it. Okay, I'm addicted to the abuse, so I'm going back. But I'm gonna have those videos out as quick as possible so I can get right back into the Aquilons guides, give you guys the strategies that I know you need, okay? I know you need them. I also know GW watches this channel, which is why they're so scared. They're so scared of bringing back elite points for the kasrkin. They know that once they do, it's gonna be over for the meta. It's the first time you're ever going to see a 96% win rate. All right, that's it for me today. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. And I'll see you guys next time.